That's it. That's it. You know that sound. That is a celebration every time we're on your screen and in your ears. It's a big vibe with Tev and Ty. We're back. Second episode of 2023. I still gotta get used to saying that, man. It's good to be back. Thanks again for all of you that joined us last week. It's great to share a little about our festive season and also kind of our outlook for 2023 and the lessons we learned in 2022. Again, we have a great show in store for you guys, and you know, these days we kick it off with a really fun fact. So Tyler, you're gonna kick us off again with another fun fact.
Yes, sir. So, as an English teacher, I felt that this was an interesting one to come across. So, there's the whole fishes debate that's happened. Like, I remember in high school, we were always told the plural of fish is fish, right? It was
Yeah,
like,
that's it.
I remember, Miss Unterschlag used to say it to us so much. And then I've noticed recently that there's been this thing of like, no, you can fish and fishes is correct. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. And
Okay.
I don't know why. Okay, I didn't do a little digging. As usual, Reddit came through for me. So
As always.
there are scenarios where you can say it, right? So it's a single fish, and then there's plural fish. But so the plural of fish is fish. But when
Mhm.
you are referring to more than one species, you can use fishes as plural. So if it's like 2 or 3 goldfish, then the correct plural is fish. But if it's like a goldfish and a fighter fish and I can't think of a third, angelfish, for example, then it becomes you can use fishes in that case.
Fishes in the tag.
Yeah.
Mm,
How's that?
okay, I think our English teachers need to give
I
us an
got
apology,
you.
man. I
If
think,
any,
yeah, there's a lot of humble English teachers out there eating some humble pie right
for
now.
sure,
You
for
guys
sure.
have literally been schooled by the grand teacher of them all. This is
I
why
got you.
Tyler's here, guys. You
I
know, it's
got
not
you.
just a pretty face, he's providing expertise.
If any of my students are listening, I hope they took notes. Because they tease me about it. Sometimes they're like, "Oh yeah," like my one student was joking the other day, and he was talking about how like, "Oh, don't worry, Mister. Like when I make it big, you can put your podcast on my. I'll use it as branding. You can sponsor us. I'll plug you. Don't stress." He's like, "Oh, sponsored by the best podcast in the world, the Big Vibe." I was like, "Hey, if you're gonna plug us, you must plug us, man. No stress."
That's the thing, man. We're putting you guys on. You guys need to remember that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, that's the fun fact for the day. Nice and short and quick one. I
That's
think
honestly
we
such a
said
brilliant one.
last week we spoke about kind of setting some goals within the podcast that we
Mm,
wanted to set.
yeah.
And Tev and I have sat and we've come up with 3 main kind of goals that we want to put together. So I'll run us with the first one, and you can do
Yeah.
the second and the
True.
third. Well, so the first one that we came up with is that we just actually want to continue making content. That's the first goal, right? I think we speak about it quite a lot, you and I, about how it's actually quite challenging to do the pod. It's fun and everything, but it is quite challenging, and I think it may go unnoticed that making content can be a goal within itself.
Yeah.
And I think that first and foremost is our goal. Is to we took a nice long break, of course, but yeah, I think if we can, that can be our first primary goal is to continue making content. At this point in time, our schedules allow us to create weekly content. If
Yeah.
we have to readjust that, we will. But I just want to keep doing it. That's the first kind of broad overall goal that I think that we should have.
Yeah. And it's such a good goal because, I mean, in the world of content, there's just so much out there. And it's also conversely easy to get stuck in a bit of a rut and doing the same content over and over again, which can get tiresome, that can get a bit boring. So the fact that we're still able to bring something vibrant, something new, something that piques curiosity and interest, that gets our listeners and viewers to kind of challenge their perspective a bit, is something that we're going to continue to focus on. That's something that we love to do. We love to create conversation, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what we're going to continue doing this year. The second thing that we wanted to do was increase engagement. So we know we have our super fans out there. We have Aaron, we have Barry, the leaders of the bunch, who are always the first to comment, ask us when the pod's coming out, get involved by sharing their opinions, and they honestly are exemplary in that regard, and we're hoping to see a lot more of that this year. What we're going to institute and bring in is asking you some questions beforehand. So before the new podcast comes out each week, we're going to kind of gauge from you guys and get your opinions and expertise in some cases
Yeah.
on topics that we'll have for the following week's podcast. We'll put that on our social media channels, and from that, we'll we'll actually feature some of your answers in our podcast for the following week. So not only do you hear our views and opinions, but we also looking to be a lot more inclusive, get your opinion out there, and drive engagements. We want to provide an area or a platform to spark conversation.
Yeah.
And this is a community. That's exactly what we're looking to do. So
For sure.
we're looking forward to putting out some questions each week, having you guys give us your thoughts and opinions, and then we'll actually chat about that and feature some of those in the following week's podcast.
And I think the nice thing about doing that is that hopefully what ends up happening then is that firstly, people will obviously get a glimpse into what to expect, right?
Yeah.
Before obviously you don't want to say everything beforehand, because then like, why would you listen, right? But
Yeah.
but if they get an idea of like what to expect, I think it's quite cool. And we're gonna try and make the questions as engaging as possible. I know Tev has one that he wants to line up for as soon as next week. And yeah, I really also just want to say, like, if you have questions that you would like to suggest, that'd be dope. But furthermore, like, if there's anything about our structure that you like or that you don't like we've changed it a few times, in that we used to release we used to have the more structured what's good in your hood and all that kind of stuff. And then we started releasing 3 shorter episodes every week. And then we kind of went back to like this kind of format and like a less structured kind of thing. So yeah, it would be great to hear what people say, lengthwise, all that kind of stuff. That will really, really help us out, I think. And yeah, Tev, number third goal.
Number 3 is a personal goal for the both of us, and that's to increase our subscribers.
Yes,
We know there's
sir.
quite a few of you that have already liked, subscribed on pretty much every platform known to man, and we appreciate your support. And this year we're just looking to grow that. We're looking to double that if possible. So currently I think we're sitting on 57 subscribers on YouTube as an example. We can get that to 100 by the end of this year. I think that is going to elevate us into another kind of level in terms of podcasting. It's something that we're looking forward to, and that's why in terms of our hierarchy of goals, it's featured slightly lower.
Yeah.
Because ultimately sharing content and engaging with you guys is what's top
That's the
of
first
our
prize.
to-do list.
Yeah.
So
And I think those are some nice goals, humble goals, I would say as well. I don't think
we're not we're not greedy about this. We're looking
we're staying
to
in our
start off
lane,
small, and
to be fair.
exactly, as we grow, our goals would also mature and change. So
For sure.
these are the ones we're setting out for this year. Let's see how we go about it, and we're looking forward to your input in helping us achieve this.
Yeah. So without further ado, last week also we spoke a little bit about creating a sense of accountability from one another.
Yes.
And maybe let's start with Tev, because what we basically want to do is we want to set something that we can be every week. We can ask each other. It doesn't have to be at the beginning of the episode, but we can ask the other person, "Hey, did you do this thing that you have committed to?" Right? It's kind of related to all the New Year's resolution goals, etc. So,
Yes.
Tev, maybe you can run us through your your accountability. What am I checking on next week?
Exactly. So last week I mentioned that I was looking to improve myself in the creative sphere, or at least have more of a creative outlet. And that is incorporated with the podcast, and also some personal things that I'm looking to achieve, like my pet projects, if you will. So the first is to learn something new about the editing software. So I previously learned my trade in Final Cut, and now we've gravitated towards DaVinci Resolve, and it's such a oof.
It's sick.
Thumbs up to DaVinci Resolve. It's honestly such an amazing creation tool. There's just so much, there's so many layers to it. So if I could learn something new about it each week, I think that's a really interesting goal.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can implement that into the podcast.
Yeah.
So if I can learn one or two things a week, hopefully you guys can notice it.
Yeah.
If not, I'll just give some
Yeah.
feedback as to what I have learned. And then the second thing is I want to get better at creative writing. So whether that goes on to become screenplays, short stories, whatever it is, I think I'm going to start off small, look to write either a poem or a really short story and have that as my creative outlet. That way I can also improve on my vocab and, yeah, get a sense of expressing myself.
Yeah. I quite like
So
that.
those are my two. And how about you, man?
So my one that I'm going to put on for you to check on every week. Maybe I'll be soft on you with the creative writing. I won't check every week. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll
Yeah.
check in on that. But the Da Vinci thing I think is quite cool. Um, I think they're both cool, but yeah, I won't put too much pressure on the creative writing for you. In terms of
Thanks, teacher.
mine, in terms of mine, this week I kind of sat down and I thought about like how good it felt to be back on the pod and just to be talking and stuff. And I realized that there was some stuff that I said in the pod that like maybe I want to elaborate on or extend something on. And I listen to a lot of podcasts and I read quite a lot of like blogs. To be honest, quite heavily Arsenal related, but nonetheless. So I
Hmm.
sat down and I started putting together a new little website for my own personal. I want to use it as at this point in time, it will be like I want to write a piece for that website every week. Whether that be in the form of blogs. I may also just like make some videos and attach it to that. Basically, I just want to create a space where I can publish an idea every week. So for example, I've already started building the website for it. Um, so the first piece that I'm going to be publishing will be, I'm hoping to do it before next week, before we record the next pod, in which I will be writing about, last week, remember, we spoke about what we were reflecting on from 2022. And the one
Yeah.
that I said was the people serving different purposes in our lives and how that's okay. And I started writing a piece about that. And I think that'll be my flagship post that I'll be putting out there. So what I'd like you to do is to check on me every week and just to ask me if I've actually written another piece for it. And then I'll create a Twitter account and a Facebook account, probably, and whatever, and I'll plug it there. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's basically what I want to do. There's a few pieces I already have in mind, but yeah, and
Yeah.
then I was thinking if when you're feeling comfortable and confident, we can have like feature pieces where we like if you just send it to me and then I just post it up on there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of the space that I'm looking to create. I always,
I really like that. And
yeah.
in terms of your spectrum of topics, are they going to vary? Are you looking to keep the same theme in
Um,
terms of it being like relationship based or personal?
no, I think they're gonna vary quite until I find out what exactly it is I'm trying to create.
Yeah.
I think it will vary. I definitely want to write a little bit about like some sport, Arsenal, Premier League,
Yes.
etc. I already have my first Arsenal piece that I want to write about as well. And what I'm trying to do is I want to write pieces that are evergreen. Uh, in that I don't just want to create like content that lasts for a few days. I want it
Yeah.
to be that at any point you can go back and check. Actually, Katya has a really, really nice blog space that she uses already. I know she wants to write more in it, but her thing called Floating Lamps, where she also has like quite, yeah, I just gave her like a
Really.
shout out there.
Plug
Yeah,
that. Plug
yeah,
it.
you know what I do. So yeah, I actually also want to do that. So it will be a variety of content until I figured out what exactly it is. I didn't have when I first started thinking about creating the podcast, I was thinking about making an Arsenal podcast, but I didn't want to just do another Arsenal podcast.
AFTV.
You know, yeah, or Arsenal Vision or Art Blog. There's so many. And then I was like, I also do want to talk about it. So I was like, it can be both. I can still have the space to express it. So yeah, that's
100%.
my accountability for next week.
I like
Um,
that. And I like the fact that you're making evergreen content, and a lot of kind of what we speak about, and now the topic that you mentioned you were writing about is something so pertinent to so many people. I think a lot of people can't always either find the words to express why it is that they're struggling or having challenges with um, people and the roles that they serve in their lives, and having someone kind of lay it out, give an account for what the situation looks
yeah,
like, and the possible solutions or outcome measures in which you can
yeah,
explore is really important and really valuable information
yeah.
in a
So
time such as this. So
check
I'm
on
looking
me.
forward to reading it personally myself.
Yeah,
So yeah, I think that's an awesome,
check on
awesome way
me.
to
Check on me, and I will next week.
express that creative outlet.
This week I'll be doing it. I think I'm almost done with that piece. It's actually quite difficult to
Yeah,
articulate some ideas, but it's yeah, it's going well. So now we're going to move into our kind of question on the week. As I said, from
yeah,
next week, hopefully our question is more engaging. But this one I can engage with Tev. So I know that you at the moment are doing, while you've been finishing your degree, you've been doing a lot of like
yeah,
more like freelancing work, kind of like the jobs that come along, and you were doing that. But now I know that this year you're trying to shift yourself, and you mentioned wanting to, try your hand at, like more specific skills that
yeah,
you've been learning about and stuff. So I read this article about how Gen Zers um, won't even apply to a job if the salary isn't listed. So there's basically the headline is all about how recent and upcoming graduates want to know how much a role will pay before they even apply for the job. So my question to you is like, I mean, obviously money is important. We know that money is
yeah.
important. How do you feel about this? Do you feel like before you apply for whatever the next job is, that you need to know what it's paying before you apply?
I think so, and I always found this to be such a curious thing. Why is there so much beating around the bush when it comes to salary? And more often than not, a job post would always say competitive salary as a pay range. What is that?
Competitive
You're
with
asking me
who?
to go and do the homework into researching that. And even if I find, let's say, a digital marketer pays $30,000 a year, as an example.
Yeah,
If I'm using the resources I find online, like PayScale or Glassdoor or whatever you have it, as my reference point to finding what the typical salary is, what guarantee do I even have that you can either match that or pay above that? Give me some kind of reference point
yeah,
as to what I can expect for
yeah,
the role,
yeah,
because you've outlined quite extensively what my requirements are,
yeah,
having been 5 years plus in an agency role. You need
yeah,
to have
yeah,
these set of skills. You need to know this kind of software. So you've given me a very thorough layout of the requirements.
yeah,
It's the least that people can do
yeah, yeah. I
in
agree.
trying to get my buy-in. And generally, you'd only find that in the interview.
Yes.
So I do have a bit of irritation with a lot of job posts. I'm not going to say it always turns me off from it, mainly because if the job spec, if that's something that I'm really keen on,
Yeah,
I'd then move into the next
yeah.
step. So almost put that question on hold until I'm in the room with
Mm,
the
mm,
relevant people to
yeah,
ask it. But I think it should be standard practice for every company that's put out a job post
yeah.
to list the salary.
Mm,
Just so I think um, for no other reason but for people to plan their lives,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Like back home, you'd get these outrageous offers for what the salary range would be post the interview.
Yeah.
Only once you're essentially about to sign your contract do you find out, oh, as a candidate attorney, I'm only earning $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
What's that going to get me if my rent is already $6,000, my petrol's another $2,000, I'm paying medical insurance for another $3,000. I'm operating at a loss here.
Yeah.
So it's really important to give people all the relevant information for them to make the informed decision.
Yeah, no, I think I agree. But I do also kind of think there's two thoughts that I had while you were talking. The one is like, I completely agree about getting in the room, especially if it's like a really, so I mean, now with the small odds and ends that you've been doing, those jobs really tell you what you're getting paid for that kind of hour, 2 hours, 5 hours, however long they estimate that you're going to be working for. So they're willing to tell you we're going to pay you £10 or £15 or £100 or whatever it is that they're paying you. But when it comes to more specific, like you said, with your dream to wanting to get more into like sports media, like if like Man City came to you and they like if they posted a job that was like, we're looking for a junior digital marketing position or whatever, you're not going to email them and be like, hi, I saw this post, how much do you pay before I apply? Like, you would never.
You're gonna go.
Similarly
You're gonna
for
hoy.
me,
I just be like, bro, I'll work for free if that's what it needs to be to start off.
So I think that is an important factor, is like realizing like what the job is. And then the second thoughts I had was that maybe some jobs, and I don't think this is an excuse, but maybe in some cases we should have an idea of what we should expect. So like I've now been teaching for 5 years, 3 of which have been in Thailand, both at like a semi-international and a very international school. And I kind of know what the going rate is based on all these factors. So I'll know I'll kind of know, and I'll check the school itself, and I'll kind of know like more or less what area it should be in. But then, again, like you don't want to, you make an assumption and then they're like, actually, nah, we pay much less than that. But yeah, those are my two thoughts. Is one is the job itself, and two, maybe they expect people to have some sort of idea, kind of coming into it.
That's true. And going off your second point, I think sometimes it almost acts as a crutch or a get out of jail free card for companies.
Yeah.
So more often than not, you'll go through the application process and then there'll be a specific question saying, what are your desired salary expectations for this role? So before you see the job post, say on LinkedIn, and it just says competitive salary. And then once you apply and you're now working through the actual application, will say, what's your desired annual salary for this position? I think their get out of jail free card is if you're coming in hot. So even if you've found what the average pay is for this position, if you say, okay, cool, another grand higher, boom, you're automatically kind of cut off or disqualified because they assume that you're either asking for too much or you aren't specifically spot on for what the going rate is. So I do hate the smoke and mirrors of it all. I would love transparency. Even if you say, look, the basic you're gonna get per month is
this amount,
under let's say it's under the going rate. If the going rate is 20K a year, you guys can expect a 15K. Okay, cool. Now I can set my expectations to a realistic like height or standard. And thereafter, if you see that I have sufficient skills or even something that's over and above what you're asking for in terms of my experience or just my general know-how for a position, then we can negotiate in the room and I can say, actually, I think I deserve the 20K.
It would be great.
At least put it out there, man.
It would be great if we could get like an HR kind of person onto the show to have this kind of conversation with them, like people that understand like a little bit more than us. So yeah, if anyone's listening and they do have any information on this, that would be fantastic to hear about. But I thought just a fun little question. But we this week wanted to talk a little bit of sport as well. So let's go, Ted. Run us in,
Oh,
mate.
man. Whoop out the South African flag because it's being flown sky high here in England.
Yes, sir.
The South African international Lyle Foster has signed a deal with the championship club Burnley.
Mm-hmm.
So he'll be playing under Vincent Company.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the legend. And he is now the most expensive South African player of all time.
Oh, yeah?
I think it was an 11 million pound fee
Jeez. Who did they buy him from?
for his signature. He came in from a Belgian club, I think it was. I'll get you the name now.
Okay. So it's not actually from South Africa. It's not from a South African.
Yeah, so he, a quick rundown of his footballing history. He was part of the Orlando Pirates Academy,
Okay.
and then he went on loan to Monaco, I believe, and he was in Monaco for a few seasons before going into the Portuguese division. And from the Portuguese division, he went on loan to his previous club, which was, I'll give you the name now, it's something with a W. In the Belgian
West,
leagues. Yes, KVC Westerlo
Yeah.
in Belgium. And having really displayed his quality in the league, I think he caught the eye of a few clubs around the world, and Burnley were the ones lucky enough to pick him
Nice
up. They
one.
actually had such an amazing announcement video, and credit to Burnley FC. I think even in their summer transfer, it was a real masterclass
Yeah.
in production. So this one, if you guys haven't seen it, it's based on the Shrek animation video where the prince is speaking to the mirror on the wall. I won't give too much away. You guys can go and see
Yeah.
it probably on YouTube as well as Burnley's social media pages. But yeah,
Yeah.
I just
Class.
want to give compliments to Lyle. I wish him the very best. I'm actually going to try and go to a game to see him play
Of
live,
course. Yeah.
if possible.
Yeah. Nice.
And you'll see me flying my SA flag
Nice. Give him some
over there.
time.
But
Give him some time to get into the starting squad,
into
and I
yeah,
know they're looking good for promotion at this point in time.
yeah.
So
They're top of the championship at
hopefully
the
he
moment.
gets to be in the Premier League, man. That'll be sick. Do you know much about
Exactly.
him? Have you watched him play? Have you followed his career much
I've
or?
seen him play a few games. So he plays as a striker,
Hmm.
centre forward. He is quite exciting. I think there's a lot of quite a high ceiling for him
Okay.
to kind of grow
Is he like
into.
more of like a lanky kind of box striker, fox, or what's he like? More like Eddie Nketiah? What's his style?
Yeah, I'd say he's kind of the focal point of the attack.
Okay.
He's quite I think he's 1.8
Yeah.
meters tall, but very good at taking on a defender, getting the ball
Agile.
out of his feet really quickly.
Okay.
Knows where the goal is.
Okay.
So very exciting prospect.
Nice
Looking
one.
forward to seeing what he does in the championship. And in keeping with theme of football,
Yeah.
I think quite a few people a few might not know about the new football league that Gerard Piqué started. So Gerard Piqué, ex-Barcelona star, Spanish international that retired recently, he has started off something called the Kings League.
Yeah.
And what the Kings League is a seven-a-side tournament that was set up by Piqué. And it consists of 12 teams, each playing 11 matches before a playoff for the title. The games take place every Sunday, and it started on the 1st of Jan this year.
Okay.
Quite a few notable names. We have Sergio Aguero, who unfortunately had his career cut short due to that heart condition, but he's up and running again. He's the president of a team called Kuni Sports.
Okay.
And we also have a notable name, Ike Casillas. He's the president of a team called 1KFC.
Nice.
The matches are streamed on Twitch, and squads include a mix of ex-players and Spanish influencers. There was
Okay.
actually a La Liga player who went to play one of these matches, and because he's obviously contracted solely for his
He
his
will.
actual team in La Liga, he had to play as a masked man. So he
Yeah.
had a luchadorian mask on,
Rey
and
Mysterio.
because he wears tattoos, exactly. Because he wears tattoos, he had to wear long sleeve and gloves, so there wasn't any indication of who he could be.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of speculation of who he was. Some people thought it was Isco, given his lack of game time. That he now had an opportunity to express himself in this league. Other shouts were Denis Suarez. I think he played for Celta Vigo. It was also the Arsenal loaned at this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I find that really interesting that you'd have an active league and not it being one of these kind of like testimonial once in a blue moon type setups. Would you pay money to watch ex-pros?
I think I would. Yeah. I think I would. Yeah, in a 7-a-side format. Ex-pros. Yeah, I think I would. I think also there must be a certain standard that he has. Like not any team can just enter the league. So I think in general the quality of the football will be pretty good.
100%.
100%. I think I paid for it. I saw this story before you said that you wanted to talk about it, but I saw it in a different context. Shakira, everybody by now should know that that Gerard Piqué, he committed some infidelity, let's just say, and he cheated on Shakira, and she came out with that, I guess, diss track, I suppose, where she was like, "You traded in a Rolex for a Casio," and then he got Casio to sponsor this league. And then she was like, "You also something you were right. You were driving a Maserati. Now you're driving
like a Fiat
or something like that." And then he bought one and he started driving one. I'm like, the pettiness of this man is like up, you know. And now he recently posted a picture of him and his new girlfriend. So yeah, that's where I heard about it. But I think, I think I would pay to go to something like this. I don't know how much, but I would pay. I think I'd pay. You paying? You go?
Yeah, I think so, man. Because you're still getting people that are slightly just over their prime. So recent retirees, I think, like in Aguero, who was only about a season.
And you're not watching like these old fat guys. Like, no offense to the old legends. Like, respect 100%. But sometimes those testimonial games, I'm like, yo, these guys.
I know, exactly, man. Good. And I think people hold into the nostalgia. Like, I think was it last year where you had the Battle of the North, and I think it was Liverpool versus Manchester Legends.
Yes.
Manchester United versus Liverpool Legends. And more often than not, it's not a great game to see. I think it's nice to see that these ex-pros still have a love for the game, but it's not something that I would necessarily throw money at.
I think also, if it's like more in a league format with, I mean, not that I'm sure there must be some sort of prize. I don't know if it's money or I don't know what it is, but PK will have set it up in a way that there's something there. I think the fact that there's also that sort of level of competitiveness will also, you know, the testimonial games are invitational. So it is also like, you got to understand, you know, it's
people having fun, coming to have a laugh.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
but that's a cool.
Very interesting to see that this is another form of the game. I know we were previously chatting in one of our earlier episodes of how hybrid football and just the world of sports is becoming these days. And, you know, with futsal, we have five-a-side, and now you're actually getting big name players in a 7-8 side. You see.
Which is nice. Exactly. You know, I think it is nice. I think a lot of us sometimes think that some players maybe, although they can no longer and they probably feel the same way, although they can no longer run with the 21-year-olds of the world, they probably think they still have a lot to give. And this format seems like a nice idea. You know, you don't want to have like an old boys league. That will be too much. But like this kind of thing, it's like, you know, a lot of people have the sentiment of Aguero gone too soon, end of the league, lots of injuries towards the end of his career, etc., etc. So it like actually gives a chance for those players to land softly, if that makes sense.
Exactly. And I guess similarly with the conversation we had in hybrid sports, in sports not just being for a purist, but including that entertainment value and looking to market itself towards the younger viewers, with it being streamed on Twitch, that plays into the gaming industry and a lot of the millennials. So.
No, that's cool.
Fair play to him.
I like that. Let's keep an eye on that and see. I wonder if it will be broadcast and stuff. He has a fair amount of money,
Mm.
although apparently Bartha still owes him some money. He has a fair amount of money to make it run smooth. So yeah, let's check that out. And with Castile behind the brand, let's see what happens there. So I have a am I the bad guy situation. We've done this once before, where with our Christmas episode, where I find these on Reddit, and I read them out to Tev, and then I ask him what he thinks about the scenario, and if
Yeah.
he thinks that this person in this case is the bad guy. So basically, I'll read it for you. So, am I the bad guy for wanting to postpone my wedding till my fiance gets rid of his braces? So my fiance, a 25-year-old male, has braces. He refused to get them when he was a teenager because he feared people would make fun of him. But he finally accepted to get them after the dentist told him clearly that it wouldn't be recommended to replace his extracted teeth till he fixes his crooked ones. The issue is that our wedding was supposed to be coming up soon, but now I plan to postpone it till my fiance gets rid of his braces. I have nothing against him wearing braces. I even encouraged him to get them to finally fix his bad teeth. But did you ever see a groom wearing braces at his wedding? I don't think so. I thought my fiance would be understanding, but instead he got mad at me and accused me of being ashamed of him. That's obviously not true. I just want our wedding photos to be as aesthetically pleasing as possible, and that's why I want to postpone our wedding till his
Yeah.
braces come off. I also told him he could have avoided all of this if he got invisible braces, but he said these were much more expensive and he wanted to save the money specifically for our wedding and honeymoon and didn't think his finances would be so shallow to care about his fiance, sorry, would be so shallow to care about it. He ended up saying that if I postpone the wedding now, I might as well just call it off altogether, which I think is incredibly unfair of him to do. But maybe I should have insisted on this issue earlier. Am I the bad guy? What are your
Mm, mm,
thoughts?
mm, 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 mm. This lady's name should be Addis or like Tikita because she's trash,
Yeah.
bro. She is trash. Throw her away.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Are you serious? Knowing, firstly, knowing what this means for her partner, already having the um, he's already in a place of some shame for having
Insecure,
to
right? He's
firstly
insecure. Yeah.
have the braces on.
Yeah.
So he's insecure. And the cost of a wedding, you know the cost
Yeah.
of a wedding. I know the cost of a wedding. This isn't something that you can just make on a yeah, you're not gonna just change your mind on the
Yeah.
day
Yeah.
or in a month's time. It's something that is an extreme investment.
Yeah.
There are so many associated costs. Not only the costs, but just the logistics of it all. How do you just base everything off the fact that your fiance is wearing braces? I think it's extremely shallow. I
Yeah.
think that she's definitely the bad guy
Yeah.
in the situation, and I think she really needs to get over herself.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm on the cut it loose, man. Cut it loose. To be honest with you,
You,
I think like last week you were talking about communication, right? And I kind of feel like this whole thing, I feel like it's so unfair of her because it's sort of like if you had said to him beforehand, like, I support you getting this, but this is the problem that I foresee.
but wait,
Yeah. So
yeah,
obviously they were already engaged before he got the braces. She knew that
exactly,
he was getting the braces, and she's like, "Oh, I support you, my love. Like, do what you need to do. Cool. Like, are you sure? Yeah, cool. Okay." So he goes and he puts these braces in. Then it's like, oh, now we need to postpone it. Oh, but why didn't you get invisible braces and all these things? I'm like, but this is a conversation that should have happened when I asked you in the first place, are you okay with this? You should have said to me, you
exactly,
should have been honest with me and been like, I'm fine with it, but I care about the wedding in this way and that way. And don't worry if the
yeah,
invisible ones, this is where the compromise would have come in, right? It would have been like, don't worry if the invisible ones are more expensive. We'll make it work, you know?
will, yeah,
We'll make the budget work around that. So yeah, and even when she's like, you have you ever seen a groom wearing braces in his wedding photos.
Braces on his wedding
I
day.
don't think so. I just want our wedding
Aesthetics.
photos to be as aesthetically pleasing.
Aesthetically pleasing as possible. Come
Nah.
on, man. Because that's the thing. Like you said, if she had an issue with it prior, then there needs to be some kind of compromise for it.
Yeah.
So you say, cool, I want you to get the invisible braces. That means that we're gonna not have an open cheese board,
Yeah. Yeah.
or we're not gonna have the Dom Perignon
Yeah. Yeah.
champagne. We're not gonna have Ace of Spades or
Yeah.
whatever it
There
is.
would have been a
We're gonna
way.
go back to chasing Leroux, guys.
Mm.
That's it. That's our
Yeah.
compromise.
They would have
I mean,
chased
chat
me.
it through, chat through it, man. And honestly, there are areas that you can cut back on that. Didn't have to be didn't have to be an inclusion for
Yeah.
the wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many tiers
Yeah.
in
The costs and
a wedding
yeah.
plan
Yeah.
that can be worked around. Like,
For sure.
and I think that's also the important thing. I don't think that her viewpoint on the wedding is solely for the two of them.
Yeah.
More often than not, when it comes to weddings, you'd find that weddings, what you'd think a wedding should be, being the focus on the bride and groom solely, becomes about everyone
Yeah.
else. It becomes an individual thing, and that's something that this couple need to remind themselves
Yeah.
of. It's their wedding.
Yeah.
They are the ones that are able to dictate what's done, how it's done, what
And
the
ultimately,
aesthetics.
let's be fair. Like, braces don't look that bad. I mean, look, I know they're not ideal in a lot of situations, but it's not bad in, like, I don't think they're that bad. And looking back
Yeah,
on it,
it's
if your wedding is success, or if your not wedding is successful, if your marriage is successful, you'll look back on those photos and it will always be like your memories won't be attached to like, oh, what a great day. I just wish I didn't have braces.
he
It
didn't
would
have
never
braces
be
on.
like that, right? So it just feels
That's
like, nah, cut it loose,
the
mate.
least one of the least important things on the day.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not like you said, it's such a small visual
Yeah.
thing. It's not like I don't know exactly what the complete piece is
Oh
called. You
yeah,
know,
that
like in Finding
yes,
Nemo. I think
the
it's Finding Nemo
yeah,
with the girl, and she has the
yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah.
that entire setup happening on her
That's
face. It's
different.
not as
Yeah,
bad as
yeah,
that. So I really think that she could be a little more understanding of the situation. You met it's ultimately it's about the person that you're marrying
yeah,
more than
yeah,
anything, though.
yeah. Nah,
The
it's
character, the heart that you have for this person far outweighs what the finer
yeah,
aesthetics or whatever this woman's talking
nah,
about. So yes, she needs to get over herself and
yeah,
not have to postpone what is potentially one of the greatest days of their
yeah.
lives.
Nah, for sure. I agree. I agree. And so let's do our final little part here. Actually, a short. I think this will probably be the shortest episode that we publish. If I
Mm.
look at our timing right now, but that's no problem. We also, it's been a really cool episode. We had some nice flow. So I'm going to end us off on a nice little quote that I saw that I think would be a good thought for everyone. And yeah, so here it goes. A bottle of water can be 50 cents at a supermarket, $2 at a gym, $3 at the movies, and $6 on an airplane. The same water. Only thing that changed its values was the place. So the next time you feel your worth is nothing, maybe you're at the wrong place.
Sure.
Thought that was quite nice, eh? Yeah, like I quite like that, man. Like
That is that's so cool.
just being
That
in the
is
right
so
place,
cool.
just kind of taking care of yourselves. And I think, yeah, that I think is a nice like little note to leave it on because the people that are still here are our people, and we feel that they're in the right place. And yeah,
Oh yeah.
that's I just thought a nice way to just wrap it up here.
Yeah, I love you that you're reminding people of their worth, man. You guys, each and every one of you are incredible. You serve such an important role in your respective communities, and I hope each of you know that. I hope that you're told exactly how much you're valued and loved, and
And if
yeah,
not,
man,
we'll
you're
tell you. We
important.
love you. We love you guys,
We love
for
you.
sure. And I think that's a really nice place for us to leave it for this week. Yeah, we will be posting up a question, so look out for that. Please share it. Even if you feel like just if it's a question that you discuss with someone else and then you come back and give us the answer, we'd love that. And yeah, let us know how you feel about the content, the way we're doing things. We're keen to hear it. Yeah, we didn't actually say it at all in this episode, but yeah, I think by now we know. Please like the video, subscribe to the
Yeesh.
channel, share. I think we kind of did in the beginning, but share it with your friends. Whatever you need to do to make it happen. We appreciate everything that you do. And yeah, that's it from me.
Thank you guys. Thank you for sticking with us. All the links below to our social channels. And we'll see you again next week. Have a great week,
Yeah,
guys.
keep vibing.